Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Who Dat Weekly featuring the Dirty Dallas finest, Christopher J. Spire. Welcome to another episode, y'all. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm excited to talk some more football today. So, should be a pretty short video today. We're going to only covering like one or two topics today. I'm trying to like stretch out my videos as the summer kicks in, and that's where the off season really gets at its most boring part. But we're gonna put every effort into it. Still gonna be posting weekly, as you know. The title of this podcast is called the Who Dat Weekly for a reason. So, but yeah, so just gonna try and entertain y'all to the best of my abilities, share my thoughts on everything, and you guys know the drill. So. All right, so with that being said, we're going to talk about why the Saints will win more than 7 games, and this is just a hypothesis. I would not quote me on this because you just never know what the Saints might do this year. None of us really do. So I'm going to be discussing why they could potentially win more than 7 games next season. On top of that, the NFL, as they always do every year, they go through some rule changes and whatnot, and I'm going to be discussing... Oh, excuse me, that's my friend calling me. I'll call him later. But let's try that segment again. So, with the NFL, there's some rule changes that are happening. I want to discuss that real quick. And we'll see what's being applied, what got rejected, etc., and we'll go from there. So, all right. So... let's start with the Saints real quick. So we're going to pull up the Saints schedule once again. I'll post it in this video as well so y'all can follow along. So as we already seen the schedule, and I mentioned in my last video about the pros and cons of this schedule, and our first opponent being the Arizona Cardinals. We slightly went over that. I didn't go into much detail with the Cardinals because I couldn't remember how good they were. I actually did my proper research this time, but we'll get into that later. But on top of that, we just went through this schedule, gave our thoughts. There's a lot of uncertainty with this team, but this is where I think the Saints could be. This schedule in particular will help the Saints drastically. So here's why. So as we all know, we're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals. They're one of potentially 7 games that I predicted the Saints to win. They should be a pretty easy matchup week 1, and here's why. So, looking at the Arizona Cardinals depth roster, starting lineup, you know what I'm talking about. I noticed that they have a lot of questions on offense, and while they have a quarterback in Kyler Murray, we all knew that, even I knew that myself. I was looking at the rest of their offense. Their O-line is very mediocre. And I feel like with our defense, even though they were not spectacular last season, we should easily eat away against that offensive line. And, so I think that will give the defense an advantage to like manhandle that offensive line. Now, here's the problem. Kyler Murray is still a mobile quarterback. Is he the same Kyler Murray that we saw in the first 2 seasons of his career? Probably not, but at the same time, he's still Kyler Murray, and we all know he can still make plays with his feet, with his arm, and he's like a shrimp out there, basically. Like if you miss him, he's gonna run away with that. So, but further analysis, I noticed that their receiving core is not the best. I noticed that Marvin Harris Jr. is their only best player on that squad. Well, technically James Conner is, but James Conner, as we know, has been kind of injury prone in the last couple of years. So, but he will be fully healthy for this game, so which is why he should provide a proper challenge for us. But going with the receiving core, they just have Marvin Harris Jr. He's like the best guy they got. And then they got 2 other fellas that I'm not too familiar with, but based off their grades, their NFL grades, they're not very good. Which should mean our defense should be able to feast in that game. Now, I'll elaborate even more further as the game gets closer, but right now this is like the quick summary of everything. So, they're one of 7 games I think we should win. And now, I did say, we can potentially win more than 7 games. And I'm going to explain why. So, looking at this schedule, with the exception of the Niners, yes, the Niners finished 6-11 last season, but again, they're the Niners. They'll find a way to bounce back. I mean, the Niners was still one of the higher scoring offenses despite their record. The problem was they had so many injuries all last season, and injuries killed them, but they were still able to score on offense pretty consistently, and they had a lot of scrub players out there too. And those same scrub players have now moved on since then. And we just can't discredit their head coach, Mike. I think it's Mike Shanahan. I'll double check that. But we just can't discredit him because he is an elite play caller. He's an elite offensive mastermind. Like, he is an amazing offensive styled coach. So we just can't discredit him, no matter how pathetic the Niners look at this point. So that's why I think now this game. I'm not saying we're going to win because I got a feeling we might take an L with this one, but I mean, you just never know. So, but moving past that, the games I think we could easily win, and feel free to agree to disagree with me on this one. In fact, if you disagree, leave a comment below, and you decide which games we're going to likely win or likely lose. The games I see us winning are Arizona. That's one. Seattle. I don't believe in Seattle good enough. New York. Duh. Easy enough. New England. Chicago I'm throwing in there because we've had our way with Chicago. That's now 5 games. Tampa Bay, I think they're due for an L in our dome. I'm just saying, like, there's been a couple of times where we've gotten close, like last season we got close, we just couldn't finish the deal. So, now, of course, the key is can we stay healthy? We'll find out later down the road. So, we'll probably split the series with the Bucks, so that's 6. Going off the schedule, we'll probably lose to the Rams. We're going to take down the Panthers, that's 7. Bye week. And then we always split the series with the Falcons, so that'd be 7. Dolphins, there. Panthers, I think we sweep the Panthers. I'm dead serious. I think we sweep the Panthers. That's 8 wins. And then Jets, yeah, easy enough. Jets should be a win, so that's 9. Titans should be a win as well. And then Falcons, well, that one's up in the air. So, I'm going to say L for now. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to sweep the Falcons because y'all know how much I hate the Falcons. But I see, like, now, I know realistically, the realistic part of me says probably like between 5 and 7 wins. But, given the upgrades that we put on offense, now this is all on paper. Just want to put that clip note there. All on paper, we should be a 9, maybe 10 win club. Now, yes, as I mentioned in my previous video, we have a lot of questions, mainly at quarterback, mainly at receiver, and definitely on defense, especially at head coach. We just don't know. But on paper, especially on offense, we should be a competent offense. I mean, we've seen when they're healthy, they're magnificent. Now, granted, they made some changes on that O-line, which should help them significantly. But at the same time, can they stay healthy is the question. I'm thinking if they don't stay healthy, again, we'll be lucky to scratch 4 wins. And I'm dead serious about that. If we're healthy and we play well enough, I could see us winning 9 to 10 games. Yes, that might sound nuts at the moment, but you know what? Based off the schedule, we have the second easiest schedule in the NFL right now. It's a strong possibility. But at the same time, and I've said it before, I'm a realistic Saints fan. I don't see us winning more than 7 games. But I said, between 5 and 7 games next season, just because we just don't know what this team is made of. We just don't know. So, but I wanted to touch up on that because thinking about it some more, after looking at this schedule some more and thinking about what the team's state of mind is right now, or the current state of the team, that is, it's a possibility. Now, if this does come true, then I'm gonna lose my lid here in a good way. But we'll see what happens, y'all. We'll see. Like it's not a guarantee. Don't shoot the messenger because I said we might win 9-10 games. I don't even know myself. I'm speculating. This is all I'm speculating, and this is like a hunch of mine. And usually when some of my hunches come true, it's people are just like, "Oh wow, you already knew about this." So, but yeah. So that's that. So that kind of wraps up the first point. Like I said, it's short and sweet. Not much to go off of there. So, but let's go ahead and jump into the NFL rule change potential. Let me start over. The potential NFL rule changes. So, as every year, the NFL gets together with all the owners and the NFL Players Association and the commissioner himself. They all go and like they just basically meet up and say, all right, what things should we change? What rules should we change? What should we get rid of this rule or should we add to this rule, etc. So the two things that came to mind that I've been keeping an eye on, and both have now been rejected. Just saying this, but it's worth talking about because it was an interesting talking point. The first rule change they were looking at was the reseeding of NFL playoff teams just based off a record. I wanted to talk about that because I thought it was quite intriguing. I know it's been rejected now, but at the same time, it's still intriguing because I can understand where they're coming from. Because, I mean, let's face it, y'all. How many times are we sick of seeing a 6-11 team win the division in a crappy division that they play in, and they end up in the playoffs, and they have a home field advantage? I mean, it's a pain in the butt. it's like you know you're gonna beat this team, or if you're just absolutely just overlooking them, you're just gonna lose them outright. And let me tell you, the Saints have done it before. Back in 2010, the 2010-2011 playoffs. We just after we won the Super Bowl, our first playoff game was against Seattle, and they were garbage all year. But they weren't garbage enough to where they still won the division, and they had home field advantage. And we end up losing to those guys in the most embarrassing way. Like that game still pisses me off to this day. I hate that I brought up flashbacks for myself, but here we are. So, but it's examples like that is understandable to why they want to reseed to where each team with a better playoff record gets the proper seeding. Now, here's the con behind all this. What do you do with the divisions then? That's kind of a key point that I instantly thought. I was like, okay, I like the idea of the reseeding and letting a team with a better obvious record have a home field advantage and a better seeding rank for the playoffs. But what do you do with the division titles? I mean, for as long as I've grown up, the NFL titles automatically gives you home field advantage for the most part. I mean, it kind of depends on the scenario, of course, but usually the four division teams from both the AFC and NFC are usually guaranteed a home field advantage game, whether you're a wild card or a divisional champ, or you get the bye week. You know what I'm talking about. So it's intriguing because does this potential rule change just completely override, make the division titles pointless? That was my concern, because division titles to me are very important because, one, you win division yourself. Two, you get depending on the situation in the playoffs, you get a nice seeding in the playoffs. And three, you potentially get home field advantage given the scenario. So those were something I pondered a bit, and I'm kind of glad they decided to reject it, because honestly, as much as I see the pros behind it, the cons behind it kind of just are concerning as well. So, yeah, with that being said, but let's go ahead and move on to the other thing I noticed is the whole tush push thing. So this might drive Packer fans mad because they're the ones, their own team is the reason why this was even addressed in the NFL meetings today. So if you're not familiar with what the tush push is, look for any replay by the Philadelphia Eagles. They have been using that play for God knows how long now. I think it's been 5 years, something like that. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on that aspect. But so the tush push is a type of offensive play very similar to rugby. In fact, if you want to look up a rugby play where the players are they have this kind of hand for. Think of how my hands look. But imagine all the football players, and there's one guy, which is obviously the quarterback. He's going to have the ball, and he's basically kind of just moving along with the offense. It's basically one massive body tank. So, and honestly, I love the play style. I wish my Saints would do it themselves, but maybe now that we have Kellen Moore as our head coach, we might just do that. But for some reasons, there are some teams like the Green Bay Packers who simply hate it, and here's my thing with why I think they hate it. I think they hate it because they don't know how to defend it. Yes, it's a very hard play to defend, but you know what? It works, and that's why I really hope the Saints kind of go steal that idea from the Philadelphia Eagles because. Can you imagine how many first downs we actually would get properly? Because I hardly ever see anytime I watch the Philadelphia Eagles play, I hardly ever see them fail a 4 for a third down conversion using the tush push. And they also use it for goal line stands or something like that. It's so effective, and I love it to death. So, and the fact there's only a handful of teams, and the Packers are one of them, that just simply don't like it. And I think they don't like it because they just don't know how to defend it. And you know what? Maybe that's your own fault. I'm just being honest with you. So, Green Bay, shove it. Everybody said no. And what really makes me proud to be a Saints fan is that the Saints themselves also were against the idea of banning the tush push. So, yeah, so... I just don't see why they would want to ban it. I mean, and this play technically has been around for generations. Like I mentioned, rugby has it. Obviously the Philadelphia Eagles have been using it most recently. I'm sure there's been moments many decades ago where the tush push was involved. I mean, we're seeing it more recently with Philadelphia because I think it's just one of those plays that no one thinks about, but the Philadelphia Eagles did, and now it's become so popular that maybe other teams will start using it. But at the same time, it's going to draw all the crybaby teams that just we don't know how to defend it. We should ban it. Why are you banning it? Just because you don't know how to defend it? Come on, man, be real. So, but yes, so those are the two things that stood out to me the most, and I really was curious to see how both of them went. And as I mentioned already, I lost my train of thought. Right. So both rule changes have been denied by the NFL. All the NFL teams basically said no to both the reseeding and the tush push being banned, yeah, that you know what I'm talking about. So, but yeah. So, anyway, that's all I got for today. Like I said, short video today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you hadn't seen last week's video with the schedule reveal, go check out the video at the end of this video, and hope to see you guys soon, baby. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Who that, baby?